Living well is the best revenge. Go where you are celebrated, not just tolerated. If those around you can't see the real value of you, it's time for a new start. Many in this country over the last year have come to this epiphany, and they have moved to the South. So many that it's almost impossible to keep up with the demand for housing. The governor of Florida had referenced hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue over and above what the expectation was. Now, money doesn't buy happiness, but when you're a leftist, progressive, liberal type, there is a fatal flaw in their religion, in their belief system, that they can never get over and they can never get past. In today's video, I'd like to outline that for you. The first flaw is that they always have to be recruiting. They always have to be going out and attempting to change someone else's mind. Because really what they're trying to do is convince themselves they're right. And by virtue of how many people they can get to go along with their schemes, that gives them self-worth. You see, that doesn't exist on the right. We believe what we believe based on time and experience and wisdom. And if others believe it, okay, wonderful. But if not, that's just wonderful too. The problem with being a leftist is that you have to be continually unhappy. You have to be continually looking for some problem to fix and not just be still and be blessed and be happy. They have a problem this way and they can never get over it. And now it's coming to fruition. I've used this map here on the left to show where the safest, happiest, most peaceful parts of the country are. And now it's coming to fruition. It's starting to be the truth. And even those in the north are starting to see it, and they're perplexed. They thought, golly, if Joe Biden were just elected president, we would all have peace and unity and kumbaya and all this kind of stuff. And it actually pushed people farther and farther away in larger and larger numbers. And they don't get it. Now, some of you have asked, McKee, I would love to come to the South, but I just don't know how to begin getting there. I don't know how to do it. Well, in today's video, I'm going to share some keys to this. The first thing you need to do in your mind to get yourself right, to get out of your situation, is treat your situation like what it is. If you're in one of these far western or far northern states, you have to start looking at life as if you are in a giant open-air prison. And your leaving there is going to be like a prison break. You have to plan it as if it was an escape. Because that's literally the words that were used by people that came from New York to Florida. We used that in another video that said, I am so glad that I escaped New York. And one guy even said that his restaurant, it looks like a prison break. It's what gave me the idea for this video. I'll see if I can find the link to that. That's the mindset you have to be in. You're in a giant open-air prison. Every moment you remain in the north, you are actually helping your enemy. Every gallon of gas you buy, every time you go to the store to purchase food, all that sales tax, all of those other taxes, they all go into the coffers of governments that are working against you. And if you remain there, if you're a man, this will be you at the top. If you're a woman, this will be you at the bottom. That's the mindset you have to get out. You have to realize where you are, even if it still seems like it's somewhat tolerable and pleasant, is going to eventually be this. Because make no mistake, that's the goal of the southern states now. DC and North has declared war, basically, on us. And so we're going to not make the mistake that was made way back in the 1860s. We're going to break them financially first. Meaning we're going to keep Southern money in the South. New York money is draining into Florida faster than they can even track it. The entire state, the city, they're consuming themselves. You can get commercial property up there for a song and a dance. In Florida, you've got to get on a waiting list just to bid on property. That's how much in demand it is. That's the difference. And it's only been a little more than 30 days since the inauguration. What do you think it's going to be like a year from now? The collapses have just begun. And the transfer of wealth has just begun. I've referenced Game of Thrones before, and some people laugh at it, but there is some wisdom in there. In season 5, there is this character that appears, this Jaqen H'ghar, who talks about becoming no one. And this is actually a very good strategy. Because a minute, an hour, a month, pardon me 1 second. Sorry about that. Allergies down here in Florida. A minute, an hour, a month. Death is certain. The time is not. All men must serve. The character that he's helping to shepherd along and mentor states that all halls lead somewhere. Where there is a way in, there is a way out. And fear cuts deeper than swords. Leave one wolf alive, and the sheep are never safe. You see, I brought that image up simply for this reason. It doesn't matter how close to conservative you think you are up there. You're not going to be safe as long as there's one wolf. I know there are conservative parts of Illinois. I know there are conservative parts of Michigan, and Wisconsin has a lot of good Christian conservatives, but in reality, the wolves are in charge. The wolves are in charge of Minnesota, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey. And as long as there's one, the sheep will never be safe. You will never be safe up there. Not long term. I know this is a lot easier said than done, but if it were me, if I were trapped up there, I would reduce my life to as Spartan as I possibly could make it, selling everything else with the plan of leaving. Literally don't want to have to transport any furniture. I don't want to have to transport anything other than what is necessary. When it's time to go, I want to be able to pick up and leave and go. When I have the finances ready, when I have the job set up, I don't want to have any anchors. And that includes debt. I would treat $2 as if it was $1 if I were living up there. You have to treat this like it's a prison break. And most importantly, this is probably the most important thing. Keep your distance from people who will never admit they are wrong and who always try to make you feel like everything's your fault. Do not fall in the trap of the left and try to, on social media or anywhere else, attempt to convince people like this of how right you are and how wrong they are. They're going to try to bait you into arguments. That's why the Twitter and Facebook is dominated by the left, because the platforms themselves are given over to emotional actions and emotional responses. I mean, think about it. What do? Type 150 characters about what's happening in your day that day? At any one moment in time and then post it for the whole world to see? That has emotionalism written all over it. That's a trap. That is a trap of the left. Don't play their game. If you want to get out, it's not going to be easy. I'm not saying that it's going to be something simple. but it's something where you have to change your mind, not just your situation. When you change your mind, you will change your situation. I think too many conservatives got too comfortable living in and amongst and around those that were actively working against them. They can't stand this. Trust me, they can't. The left cannot stand anyone on the right living well. And what's driving them insane about Florida right now is that we are living better than anyone else in the country because of the decisions made. Not just by our governor, but by our people. See, our governor is a result of our people, not the other way around. He didn't save Florida. Florida saved itself. He is, excuse me, a result of that. Just like all of the other people that have stood up, all the other lions. Byron Donalds in D.C., Blaise Ingoglia, the chairman of the Republican Party of Florida, our entire Supreme Court, every single member being a member of the Federalist Society, completely conservative all the way to the right. Our state houses, full of conservatives. None of that was an accident, and all of that preceded Governor DeSantis. He is a result of a well-tended garden. And plucking him up and putting him in D.C. would cause him to wither and die. Figuratively speaking, of course. His best service is here in Florida. So, I will leave it there. Go where you are celebrated, not where you are just tolerated. If those around you can't see the value of you, it is time for a new start. Come south. Any way you can. And like I said, treat it like a prison break. Get together with a group if you have to and make a plan. Even if it means just getting from Michigan to Indiana, or from Pennsylvania to Tennessee, or from Iowa to Arkansas, whatever it is. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina. If you have to make stops in West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, okay. Maybe parts of, I don't even want to say Illinois because Chicago runs the entire state. Chicago runs the entire state. I don't care if you're right all the way down here at the southern tip. Chicago runs this state. And Wisconsin, and unfortunately Michigan and Minnesota. You got Waltz, Evers, Whitmer. I'm not sure who the governor of Illinois is, but up here, no hope. Absolutely no hope. And the West Coast is just a national tragedy right now. It's just that bad. So anyway, God bless, like, share, subscribe, and we will see you next time.